We continue with the Double or Nothing contest. We got Atow versus Tempoh. We got best of fives for the first 3 levels. We got $62.50 as the starting prize pool. Winner can decide to cash out or double up. We start now. Here we go. It's Atow versus Tempoh. It's 2 new players who have never played in the Donathon before. And somebody just asked, have there been any players cashing out? The answer is yes. Yes. We've had 2 cash outs as Tempoh is going to open up the scoring. We told him last second that he could play in this match and he wanted a little bit of warm up. Do we think he's warm as he passes to himself off the ceiling into a reset underneath Atow? We have had Juicy and Vatira both cash out at level 3. That was back when level 3 was worth a little bit less. But because they both cashed out and we had no active runs, that was when we adjusted the rule set, bumped up the prize, reduced the length of the series here in the early rounds. And now it only becomes best of 7 when there starts to be a lot more prize on the line later on. Tempoh and Atow, part of a random selection of players who hadn't played yet to play a new run since the previous ones cashed out. And if you've been watching in order, we've been uploading in order. Toxic currently on a run of his own. He pulled Vatira, and Vatira cashed out of his run. So I don't know if he's going to want to play or not. We didn't remove him from the wheel. If he decides he doesn't want to play anymore, we'll roll Toxics again. Otherwise, it'll be Toxic versus Vatira. And in this run, we got Atow versus Tempoh. Tempoh wave dash shot, and he actually puts it perfectly top left. Tempoh in the zone for these 1v1s. I like Atow's style. He always has something new, or at least, not always, but I feel like he's more likely to have some unique setup with his car. The song that plays at the intro, I think it's like Me Channel something. All the songs we use on stream are in that playlist that just got linked, because they're all verified, copyright free. Tempoh lost the ball straight to Atow to allow him to score. Takes him a minute 30, but eventually Tempoh gives him one, and he's on the board. We should probably end the submissions. Chat's 56% in favor of Atow. What is this symbol on the hood of Atow's car that you can barely see? Tempoh gonna pick up midfield 100 and attack a late returning Atow, trying to get him. Oh, this first hook shot is a fake to freeze Atow. You watch him rotate back. He realizes he has to hit the brakes because he's beginning faked, and then Tempoh finally does put it top left, and Atow cannot accelerate it to it in time. The decal is strong line. Oh, it's just like, it's not a symbol. I thought it kind of looked like a Vitality set of wings, but I think it's just a very basic symbol. Tempoh gonna bump Atow away. Make it 5-1 as he has found himself on top of the ball. And really, Atow's only goals have been basically gifts from Tempoh. Tempoh throwing one towards the nets. There's probably posting out, but Atow wanted to pinch it away all the same. Chat, if you guys say GIF, type 1, and if you say GIF, type 2. I think everyone's going to type 1. Atow, reset low 50. I think most people say GIF. I was one of the people who said GIF early on because the creators, whatever. For whatever reason, we were a GIF family growing up, but when 90% of everyone else says GIF, it's like at some point you gotta put aside your pride and just say what the world has decided it's called. Tempoh, kickoff win off the side wall to make it 7-3. Feer is a follower? No, it's just, it really comes down to this. If you call it GIF enough times, and you go to say it, and the people you're talking to go, huh? What? What do you, huh? Oh wait, why do you call it GIF? I call it GIF, what? And you have to have a 5-minute conversation about that every time. You just get conditioned to be like, I'm done saying it that way. I'm done saying it that way. I don't care if the creator of the image format said it that way. I'm gonna say it the way everyone expects it to be. Tempoh! Not able to hit the double. Koi has DM'd me. He's trying to get around his timeouts. Atow slams one down off the ceiling to make it 4-7. Sheep mentality. Oh, that's funny. Hey, at least I'm not calling it no bow. Does that make me not sheep mentality, or does it make me sheep mentality? I don't know. That's a perfect example of how there is... Oh, nice save by Tempoh to get around the edge of a bump. How there is no perfect agreement on how to say it, which is kind of the problem, where as opposed to GIF, everybody says a GIF, so it's clear what you should do. Tempoh! Can't get another double, but he's got a 3-goal lead with a minute left to go. I personally pronounce it DC 1439. A little bit different than everyone else. Tempoh, single jump over the top. Should be able to get the angle, but not with the power he needed. Atow back the other way. Tempoh misses the redirect. Oh, Atow put it in the one spot that Tempoh could save. Probably lots of space in the net. That could have been a goal. And that probably ends the dream that Atow brings this game number 1 back. Atow demoed. What are they going to finish with? I'm getting other DMs from more timed out people. Kruger 1430. Was Kruger always 1439 Kruger? He switches numbers. Game number 1 goes to Tempoh as he tries to start a run in this Donathon. These C nuts. Got me. Game number 2. Atow and Tempoh. Atow needs to turn this game around, and he's done well at the start to do just that. Picks up the midfield 100. Tempoh was on the wrong side of the play. Great 50 from Atow. Tempoh making sure he got that out around Atow. Hopes to put him on target, but forced to put it just a bit high. Tempoh seeing Atow chasing down the ball. Floats up behind it for a 50. Atow's starting to get in the zone. He's starting to move around the field like we're used to seeing from him. Very speedy, very creative. Looking for a soft touch into the corner. Reverse wave dash. I love that from Atow, but he ultimately decided that extra bit of speed wasn't worth using. And he will instead go to the ceiling. Tempoh gets it around him. And a bit awkward from Tempoh, but it doesn't matter. Atow sent himself around the whole map. Wait, Kruger 1439, you're not even not even timed out? You're just DMing me for no reason? I didn't think you were timed out. DSC conspiracy. Tempoh trying to recreate the goal he had to open the series, where he passed to himself off the ceiling to the resets. Not quite able to do it. Demo now should lead to an open net and a 2-1 lead. Tempoh, air dribble bump, connected on Atow, but only after Atow got just enough of the ball. And then he had a better recovery on the follow-up. Atow boost grab. Setting up a bounce dribble. Hook shot. Oh my goodness. It doesn't have to be crazy. It can just be 119 kilometer per hour little chip bounce into hook. I guess that can be tough to place correctly. But still something worth trying in your own games. Atow, little bump to make it 4-2. Used to have Atow top 5 1v1ers, but he doesn't play as much anymore. There was a moment in time where Atow went on a really big streak on my channel. I think it ended playing Diaz, and he played Diaz. He played somebody on high ping, I think. I think he played Diaz. I don't know if they played on US East or something, but in retrospect, Diaz played some games on EU. I think they played on US East. Atow Diaz on US East. Diaz with 140 or whatever, or 110, and Atow with similar ping. And that was how his streak ended. But he was looking fairly unbeatable. Diaz beat just about every... Ooh, that backflip. Oh, it is still in. Wow. What placement. Diaz was beating every single European on USC servers. That was a theoretical fair matchup, but it didn't ever play out that way because they were both high ping. Diaz seemed to be more used to it. Tempoh, kickoff win, and one he maybe needs. Look at the Atow movements. He just lobbed this ball out in front of the net, though. Would have been a humongous mistake if Tempoh had boost, but maybe accounting for the fact that he didn't have much. Atow keeping ball cam on. Ultimately, took a pretty weak power shot at net, one that I think he should not have taken. Maybe he didn't like his setup, but he needs to stay with the ball longer, 50, or do something that isn't just a shot from that far out. Atow going to make it 6-4 with some kickoff creativeness. Wave dash kickoff. It's a defensive bump, though. Unlike we've seen from a lot of people, specifically Moxie, who loves his wave dash bump. That involves winning the ball to the other half first. Atow backs off, makes the save, uses his jump to push himself down on the ground to get the quick counter, put it on targets, and soars through the air as a celebration. There'll be Bear says, hey, Mr. Feer, you have a question. Does 7 Gifted still set a loser free? It does. It does set a loser free. Or you want it to be brought back to pay penance. Tempoh getting a 5th goal. Atow dodges the Tempoh bump. Tempoh! Some good dashing on the side wall. It's looking like Atow's going to equalize. Probably needs to be safe on this dribble, but that's not really how Atow likes to play it normally, although I would say he did adjust correctly and play that about as safe as possible on the landing. Pogo! Oh! So close. Atow, another great 50, considering the state of the game. He seems unafraid to take the ball to ceiling height. Tempoh is correctly turning, challenging, risking everything at every moment, but it's not paying off. Atow missed the sidewall pop. Now Tempoh to the air dribble reset, pre-flip bump. It's exciting, but even though it would have been a goal, it still would not have gotten the game. Game number 2 goes to Atow. Atow versus Tempoh. Equalized in the best of 5. Tempoh gonna score off the kickoff. What made you get into Rocket League, everyone? It was a friend who told me about it in 2015, but you got the game in 2016. My buddy got it for PS Plus when it was free. When I was living with him. We were roommates. So I played it because they said it was fun while I was gone for a weekend. Tempoh, hook shot, Atow saves it. Tempoh follow up. And he makes it 2-0. Pre-Dr. Feer? No, it was not pre-Dr. Feer. I think I was actually away for the weekend with Dr. Feer. There will be Bears! Thank you for the 7 gifted. Much appreciated. Tempoh loses control of the ball and allows Atow to make it 1-2. It was old Feer, certainly, because it was prehistoric Feer. Rocket League wasn't even released yet. 320, I believe we're about 65 away from just bringing everybody back today. Atow dodging bump attempts. Heading to the sidewall. Off the ceiling and back down. Tempoh tried to go up there to stop him, but it did not work. Can you explain why you spun everyone? For everyone except Atow. With Atow, you took out literally everyone except Nas, Moxie, Tempoh. Okay. I'll explain it again for anybody who's been watching today. Who's maybe a bit confused and felt like Tempoh or others had higher chances than normal. When we rolled Atow and Dr. Known originally, we rolled from only the players who had yet to play yet to give people a chance to start new runs. Atow air dribble bump. So when I went to go roll Dr. Known's replacement, I did the same thing again. I removed everybody who has yet to get to play and got Dr. Known's replacement when he didn't show up. So that's why it was just Tempoh, Moxie, and Nas, I think. So I just applied the same rules that I did when I selected Dr. Known. You can spam question marks all you want, but everybody understands. What'd the paid chatter say? Honestly, you deserve more subs, as you're the biggest content creator since the beginning of Rocket League. Yo! Alienated with a 5 gifted. You clearly agree with Je suis DSL. The biggest content creator since the beginning of Rocket League. Wow. That is very high praise. And Tempoh is the best ceiling double resets to nets player since Rocket League. As he will do it and place it on the far side of the nets to make it 3-3. Intentional loss from Atow on the kickoff to the corner. He just got on the right side of the ball, stayed grounded, basically made it so that any result of a 50 would not go in his net. That's really what he's hoping for, and to lose it to his back corner where he can control it. I'd say it went decently well, though he wasn't able to capitalize on anything. Now he has to rotate back. Tempoh's flick isn't speedy enough to score, and a fake challenge to get Atow to use just a little bit more of that boost. Stole his corners. Will demo Atow now, who had pre-flipped trying to pick up 100. If he had stayed grounded, Tempoh would have just gotten a boost steal. But since Atow flipped out, he says, well, I don't even need to steal your boost now. I'll just demo you and shoot on an open net. When does the real stream start? Mario speedrun. We'll have Tempoh and Atow play. If they can go again, we'll probably have them go again. Whoever, if they roll for a new game. Otherwise, it'll start then. Atow sending one towards the net to make it 5-4. Dr. Known did not show up today, and we confirmed with his buddy that he was not going to be able to play either. Chat, type 1 if we should add Shoddy to the wheel. I think Shoddy might be interested in playing. Atow off the ceiling, resets. Doesn't get anything. Pre-flip from Tempoh. Needs to find a way to score in the minute 30. He's got lots of time. He's on offense right now. Very intentional save off the post. Great counterattack from Atow. Sent a soft shot at his nets. So instead of panicking when there's no need, he instead lines up the save off the post, gets a reset off the side wall, and dashes his way back to the counterattack. Atow, air dribble, reset, flick. Covered by Tempoh. Tempoh seemed like he was thinking about ceiling height. That was a mistake from Atow. But so much respect from Tempoh at the start of the dribble means he was not in the right position to counter it. And then a surprising backflip. Did Tempoh just bump Atow up? He has no boost left. He can't get there in time. Oh, but what a nice reset pop. That was one of the only ways to actually get the power to not let Tempoh save it. But Tempoh still did. Atow turns and challenges. All but securing this game, which is wasting more time. He's got boost advantage. He's letting Tempoh really roll it in towards the net, but since the ball is rolling on the ground, he's not worried about a zero boost attacker doing too much. A all-in play in the final seconds. Maybe a mistake. Probably going to be okay with it, but Atow used up every last bit of boost. And Tempoh couldn't hit the angle. Game number 3 going to Atow. One game away from continuing a Donathon run. Tempoh gonna have to lock in and recreate that first game if he wants to bring it back. Game number 4. Atow and Tempoh. Zen felt iffy when I brought up the tournament format to him. Tempoh, nice reset. Musty. So who knows? Maybe he'd want to jump in later. Jump in to end somebody's streak. Who knows? For now, he's not in it. Atow resets, flip to the backboard. Tempoh makes a save. Nice read on where Atow was going. Atow keeping ball cam on during his dribble. A Atow signature. Tempoh, great defensive reads. Yeah, Atow's giving him a what a save as well. I mean, these are not easy angles to stop. Tempoh putting himself in the right spot. Do you think Daniel would ever come back to 1v1? Of course I'd be excited to have Daniel back. I'm hoping that he gives it a go this season. He was locked into threes and he got a world championship, so you could argue that was worth it. Now, does that mean he will never do ones again and just stay locked in, or does that mean he's gotten a world championship, so maybe he tries to get ones as well? Who knows? I know what I want him to do. Atow taking on the DS challenge. Air dribble and ceiling height has a reset. Front flip is in. Completes. Tried to hit a little wall walk. Or sorry, a ceiling walk on the way back. Atow staring down Tempoh to see where he's at before starting this dribble. And saw the early challenge coming, got the reset around him, and made sure not to touch the ball because all he could have done at that point was save it. Make it 3-2. Atow doesn't go to the kickoff. It's going to work in his favor, though. I'm not sure. Tempoh jumping off the ball down to a wave dash. Big save from Atow, but it rolled instead of bouncing, which is going to leave an opportunity for Tempoh to recover. That roll just takes just a little bit longer. Tempoh does make it back, but Atow still finds a way through. This isn't easy to do either. At low speeds, when both players have stopped and they're both on low boost, it's not super simple to get it past. And yet he found the power he needed. And the placements, which is probably even more important. Tempoh, big kickoff win. Atow's back and actually landed back wall, which is the biggest part of that save. Instead of falling into net, you land back wall and you get a dribble of your own off the ceiling. The double is crossbar down and out. Atow pinning this one straight up, and maybe not as straight up as he would have liked. I think Tempoh had a chance, but Tempoh just handed it right back. Atow on a dribble, pre-flip. Not quite full pre-flip, hits at the side of his car, but places it top shelf. And Atow looking strong here with half a game left to go in what could be his 3-1 win and his first series win in a Donathon. Tempoh pops up, goes for a flick. Makes it 5-3. This was a nice flick from him. And he needs more kickoff wins if he wants to bring this one back. Atow. Musty now backs off. Tempoh dunk and gets a goal. Slowly clawing his way back. We've been going over team swaps as players arrive to play in the Donathon. I guess these guys are both brand new, so I should mention what happened to their teams. Atow is playing with Feer still on KC, but Juicy has taken over Drally's spots. Tempoh was playing, I forget who he was playing with last season, but I'm not sure we know who he's playing with. I feel like I've seen his montages. He's been doing lots of YouTube videos. And I want to say the comments on his YouTube videos are still, who are you going to play with? So I'm not sure what Tempoh's team is going to be just yet. Level 1 is $62 now if you haven't been paying attention. We bumped it up. It's double bonus from here on out to the end of the Donathon. And shorter matches here at the start. He is currently teaming with Acro and Edgeby. That sounds like a team he might have played with last year, or at least Edgeby is. But that's a confirmed this year team. Tempoh's going to tie it up right now. He wants to see some Game 5. Atow, oof, able to finish off the kickoff. Close. Tempoh gets a little bit of ping noise, but not enough to stop it. Atow, air dribble, reset, minute left to go. Wave dash shot is plays so well. I mean, this is just really tough to stop if you're Tempoh. The placement from Atow in these final moments, I mean, perfectly bottom right. There's so much you can do in the air. You have to respect it. The NA news is that NRG is staying the same. Tempoh slowing down on the reset. That might be the end of this game. Actually, great. Zap Dash recovery still has a chance. Kofor, First Killer, and LJ are the old Ultimates team that are now under Shopify Rebellion. Tempoh able to get a counterattack because Atow being aggressive despite the lead. Wave dash kickoff. To the back corner for Atow. Baiting Tempoh in. Which he can't do with a 1-goal lead. Maybe he wants a demo here. Recognize he wouldn't be able to get it. Tempoh pinch! Is that good enough to be a goal? It is! Atow drops him the nice one. Tempoh needs a goal bad. He doesn't have possession, but he gets a chance to pinch. And he perfects it. It is one bounce. So maybe not perfect. But a tie game from Tempoh. Atow, slight delay kickoff. It looks like Tempoh did as well. Atow, little bump. The classic Moxie goal. And Atow right back on top. Tempoh's found himself past the ball so many different times. It seems like he's rolling into it low. Bryce took cheese off of Genji. Atow sends the ball across the nets. And will let Tempoh have control. Tempoh couldn't hold on to it though. Trying to undercut Atow. Needs to keep the ball in the air. He's dead! Hard to imagine a way he could get back when he's not on the field. Atow will win. It's GG's. 3-1 at the start of the Donathon. Now the question is, and Atow was in chat earlier, maybe he'll answer us in chat. Does he want to continue his run? Is Atow in chat? Does he want 6250? Or does he want to go again? Double it up against the random opponents. He doubles! CRR, who played earlier today. We'll see if he's down to play again. He's been selected to play against Atow.